Good evening, folks. This is Deb Delapiana, and this is your, what is it? Is it a shut the fuck up? Or is it a chain reaction report? Shut the fuck up, chain reaction report. I think we're going to call it a chain reaction report tonight, but there may be a few shut the fuck ups in here. So, let me tell you where I'm coming from. There have been two things all along. Which got me off the wagon train for direct democracy and for the people, you know, controlling the country. The number one event was the pandemic. And the way the people handle that, because it isn't just the politicians and the doctors and all of that who, you know, had to handle the pandemic. You know, it was the American people and their response to the pandemic that really put me off. And when I say that, I mean not only the people who took advantage of the pandemic to build themselves alternative businesses or to make themselves internet influencers, or to get their hit rate up by spreading medical misinformation, or by spreading medical misinformation to line their own pockets, but the people themselves who really couldn't understand that you don't just get a vaccine for you or wear a mask just for you, you wear it to help others. And this is the sticking point for me in this country, okay? We just don't give a shit enough. There's a third reason now, after last night, with the testimony of Judge Luttig. And we'll get into that, but I won't until I get into the conversation about what he said. The fourth thing has been working in retail. And there's a story behind this too from last night's little nightmare at the old place of employment. But I'm going to save that for the end. So we're going to talk first about the American people and the fact that the biggest concern that the January 6th committee has is making the American people care enough. Now, I have heard people say they just want to move past this. And you know, it'd be a really wonderful thing if we could. Now, I don't consider Mike Pence a hero. I consider him a guy who understood what his role was and did his job, okay? Mike Pence wants to move past this only because, you know, in spite of the fact that he stood up to Donald Trump, he's running for president in 2024, and he certainly doesn't want to alienate too many of Trump's supporters, if you know what I'm saying. So, the fact that the American people, I don't even think recognize what the fuck happened on January 6, 2021. That was not just a peaceful protest. That was not just a one-off. We came so close to losing our democracy on that day that, you know, I'm stunned now when I look back at the visuals that people just don't get it. I just am amazed. You know, if that had been Black Lives Matter or Antifa, everybody would have gotten it. But it wasn't, actually, no matter what they tell you. It was hardcore right wing. It was the Proud Boys. It was the Oath Keepers. It was white supremacists. It was anti-Semites. It was all of the most unsavory people on the planet that, you know, you could put in one place, all responding to the lunatic ravings of their Lord and Master, the carnival barking reality TV star turned president. And that's really what it amounts to. And last night, when I get home from work, I watch the entire proceedings. I've been watching all of the proceedings from day one, and I will not stop watching them. Okay? And I watched Judge Luttig testify. Now, earlier in the day, I had caught wind of people on, of course, the poison planet, which is also known as just social media in general. Because, you know, while social media as an entity can't be blamed for everything going on here, it certainly has played its role. If nothing else than to give a voice to some of the most despicable citizens in this country. And some of the most ignorant people in this country. So I heard a lot of commentary about Judge Luttig yesterday, like he's talking so slow. This is just so boring. You know, he's talking so slow. Can we be sure he knows what he's talking about? Can we be sure he's telling the truth? These, I'm sure, are all, you know, insurrection deniers. You know, we have COVID deniers. We have the big lie proponents, and we have insurrection deniers. We have people who prefer to see these people as peaceful patriots who just either A, get out of hand, or B, get out of hand. Shut the fuck up, people. All right? Shut up. 7 people died because of what happened on January 6, 2021. And yes, one of them was Ashley Babbitt. Ashley Babbitt wasn't a hero. Ashley Babbitt put herself in the position she found herself in. She was not killed unjustly. She was told to stop what she was doing by a man who had a gun and who was one of several Capitol police officers who were badly outnumbered and had a duty to protect senators and congressmen sitting in session. That was their job that day. They weren't the Uvalde police. So stop with the Ashley Babbitt hero shit. She's not a hero just because she served in the fucking military. She served in the fucking military, and then she tried to overthrow the government. End of story. And there were a lot of military people there trying to overthrow the motherfucking government. So while we're at it, let me just say we need to purge the military of all the white supremacists and all of the QAnon supporters that have found their way in. But let me get back to the Judge Luttig thing. A lot of commentary about that. First of all, Judge Luttig is retired and he is recovering from a stroke. Do you fucking understand that on any level? If you're one of the people who is making nasty posts about him, take the fucking things down. Because someday it might be you. Show a little bit of fucking class and a little bit of empathy for somebody. He stutters a little and he's slow to talk. Live with it. He knew exactly what he was saying. And at the end of all of this proceeding last night, he made the final closing statement. And his statement was, Donald Trump and his followers are, quote, clear and present danger to American democracy. And he went on to say further, not because of what he already did on January 6, 2021, but because him and his supporters, some of whom are still serving in Congress, are still talking the same way. They're talking about 2024 now. They're talking about overturning that election. They're talking about, warning about voter fraud already before the election's even held. And if you don't think that they'll try this again, you're wrong. They're galvanized. Unlike the left, who can't find their fucking asshole with a mirror and a flashlight. The right knows how to organize. They know how to stick together, and they know how to get the job done. We're looking at evidence of it right now in this country. We have 147 serving legislators who voted to overturn a legitimate election. There is not one iota of evidence there was any voter fraud. Not one iota of evidence. of any voter fraud. 62 cases brought in front of various courts in this country, 61 of which were rejected, one of which stood, which didn't affect the outcome of either party. When you get to 62 and 61 are rejected, you fucking lost. You got it? But what do we have going on here right now, just to bolster what Judge Luttig is saying? We have a guy in Nevada running for governor. His name is Joey Gilbert. He is not only a COVID, what they call a truther, which means a COVID denier, but he is also a proponent of the big lie, voter fraud. Donald Trump's election was stolen from him. He's running against a guy named, I don't know his first name. His last name I know is Lombardo, and he's pretty much a right-wing Republican. He's not a COVID denier, and he's absolutely not a man who, is bitching about voter fraud. The other night, with 82% of precincts, I haven't looked at it tonight, but the other night with 82% of precincts reporting, Lombardo, the good guy, if you can call him that. Anybody who's hard right is not a good guy, but he's at least not a COVID denier, a QAnon supporter, or a voter fraud aficionado. Lombardo was leading 38.4% to Gilbert, Joey Gilbert, Donald Trump's man, 27.6%. And Gilbert has refused to concede because, voter fraud. This is the poison that Donald Trump has spread across this nation. In New Mexico, they're refusing to certify that election because they have trepidations about the Dominion voting machines. Another lie that was spread by Donald Trump and his acolytes to try to get the election overturned. There are at least 2 other states where these are just primaries. They're refusing to concede. One of which, the person refusing to concede only has 3% of the vote. We are in a world of trouble here. And all across this nation, by the way, from Florida to Texas to Illinois, all of these states, all of the states that are important to the Republican Party, they are indulging in voter suppression tactics. They are redistricting to make people of color, Native Americans, gay and lesbian people less able to vote. This is going on right now as we speak in this country, but none of you are paying attention to that because, hey, COVID's all over now and it's time to party. I got some really bad news for you people. Ain't nobody going to be partying if the GOP gets back in 2022. The GOP, by the way, is spending its time trying to figure out how they can tie up Joe Biden for the last 2 years of his presidency. They're going to investigate everything, and they're going to dissolve the January 6th commission if this isn't done. Every failed coup is just a dress rehearsal. If you think the Proud Boys are done, the Oath Keepers, if you think Donald Trump is done, if you think seditionists like Mo Brooks, Ted Cruz, Matt Gaetz, Marjorie Taylor Greene, Lauren Boebert, if you think they're done, you're out of your fucking mind. And you have not been paying attention. Judge Luttig was spot on. And by the way, he's got some seriously conservative chops, okay? He actually had Ted Cruz and John Eastman, the man at the center of Donald Trump's illicit and illegal activity to steal the election, as clerks for him. He has since broken with them. And Judge Luttig, with the help of his, I believe it was his son, helped him set up a Twitter account so he could counter some of the lies that are out there. Judge Luttig is so respected as a conservative judge that he sent 40 clerks to the Supreme Court over the years, some of whom clerked for Clarence Thomas. This is a man who understands the Constitution. It's a man who takes his job seriously. Yes, there are those people out there who do. And he's warning you that if you go to sleep on this, it's a disaster in the making. And for all of the people out there making commentary about how nothing's going to happen, nobody's going to do anything about this, where are you? I have said this before. I made a video the other night. I'm not going to beat it to death. You need to participate. Get on the phone. Start making phone calls. Write some letters. Get some shit done. This is what actual people do. When they talk about civic engagement, that's what this is. The politicians take their lead from you. That's what they do. They're waiting to hear from you. In one state, they had a conservative, right-wing female senator who was refusing to have anything to do with expanded background checks until she got so many letters and so many phone calls from people in her district, her constituents, that she did an about-face on it. Don't say it doesn't change people. It actually does. They know who votes for them. You need to make sure they understand what you expect from them if you're going to vote for them. In order to do that, posting on social media isn't it. They're not looking for fucking you on social media. They're too busy sitting in Congress tweeting while they're working. That's another thing that needs to stop. They can tweet after they're done with their fucking jobs instead of tweeting in the middle of sessions. Bunch of fucking clowns. That's number one. Number two. We had a little bit of a, I don't know, I guess for some people it was a breaking story. It was everywhere last night. Joe Manchin and the Republicans came up with a bipartisan bill out of nowhere. You want to know what it was about? That the American flag needs to be made here, not in China. I believe Susan Collins was in on that one. Yeah, she's so full of shit, honestly. She must have been feeling her, Wheaties after writing that bill to codify Roe v. Wade, which still is waiting for a number. It ain't never going to happen. It's never going to see the light of day. That was just political recovery for her from not signing the actual bill. That was a real bill to codify Roe v. Wade. That was her and Lisa Murkowski saving face. That bill is dead in the water. Nobody in the GOP on the Senate side is going to advance that bill for a vote before the edict comes down from the Supreme Court. And even if they did, it'd have to go to the House, and no one in the House is going to support that bill because their bill was actually stronger and better. So that's another wasted effort, waste of taxpayer dollars. The best bill that Joe Manchin, Susan Collins, and a few other right-wing nitwits could come up with was making sure our American flags are made in America. Good on you, brother. I'm sure that benefits a lot of American people. It does absolutely fucking nothing. It's an empty fucking suit. They just fucking, I abhor, Joe Manchin. I abhor the Republican Party in general. By the way, I'm going to tell you right now, all of this shit, all of this election stuff, the storming of the Capitol, they're doing this all in the full view of the public. It's right out here in the open. None of this is clandestine, and you're still ignoring it. They're hiding in plain sight. And you're letting them. Because you just can't put yourself out. It's just too much fucking work for you. Shame on you. On all of you. And by the way, let's talk about Roe v. Wade. The first time we went out in the streets, maybe 3 weeks ago, we had a lot of people. We're going back out there Sunday, we got 4 people. This is going to be the death knell, folks. I'm not doing this again. Sarah's not going to drive from Worcester again with the price of gas the way it is. If you can't make a commitment to this, there's no reason for us to do it. Because 4 people on a fucking street corner, it ain't going to do shit. The first time we were out there, we had so many people, we had 3 police cars watching us. They won't need to be there this weekend. We can put ourselves out there. You can put yourself out there. If you care about your rights, you should be out there. And I'm going to tell you why. You know, in Massachusetts, we're considered a safe state. And it's a pretty easy state to get a lot of things done. It's a pretty easy state if you're gay. It's a pretty easy state if you're trans. It's a pretty easy state to live in if you're a woman. Especially if you're a woman needing an abortion. But you know what? All of that is fleeting. Because if the GOP is put back in power, they are talking about a nationwide ban on abortion. If they have the numbers, they will pass that bill. Unlike the Democrats, who don't have the numbers because you didn't give them a big enough majority. You got a big enough majority in the House, now you got to fucking hang on to it. But you don't have it in the Senate. And in the Senate, the GOP uses the filibuster all the time to obstruct. The Democrats almost never use it. But the GOP, they've made a living off it. The filibuster has to go. The GOP will not let it go. You need a bigger majority to make that happen. And once they're done, by the way, with making a nationwide abortion ban, they're going to go after interracial marriage, same-sex marriage, contraception rights, all argued on the same thing as Roe v. Wade, on the same basis. If you do not think they will do this, you are fucking sleeping. And you need some serious wake up medicine. And now let me close by talking about how working in retail has just reaffirmed my belief that people suck. So last night, our closing time is 5 o'clock. Last night, 7 minutes of 5, these 2 women walk in. So, I had just finished making paint for somebody, and my coworker, Gabby, she was making a color match for somebody. And I said to these 2 women, if you guys need paint, we need to know now so we can get it done. They didn't even have their colors picked out. They wanted, well, I need to get, I know you close at 5, but I have to have paint now. I need to get these people to work. I'm a real estate agent. Big fucking deal. I make paint. I don't care what you are. We close at 5. I didn't say that to her, but that's what I was thinking. She wanted a 5-gallon, 2 5-gallon buckets. I don't know if any of you people have any idea what it takes to make a 5-gallon bucket. Then she needed a 5-gallon bucket of ceiling paint. And then she had some other stuff. So I said to her, we don't have any 5-gallon buckets in the paint that you want. Right now, we haven't got our paint order yet this week. She was, I need individual gallons then. I said, ma'am, I have a family event tonight, and I need to be out of here soon. I cannot stay. So needless to say, we got her a 5-gallon bucket of ceiling paint. We got it all shaken up. In the meantime, it's me, 3 other people working. So Gabby and I split the paint thing, and we start making the paint on 2 different machines so we can get them out of the fucking store. She turns around and goes, why do you need to have more than one person making the paint? I need people to get other stuff for me. I just looked at her. I said, what do you need? I need blue tape. I need some, drop cloths. I need some rosin paper. I said, those are the next aisle over. This is a self-serve store. We are not your personal shoppers. You're going to go get that. I'm telling them what they're doing. I'm closing the store tonight. She goes out in the aisle to get her stuff, and she sees someone who's practically a brand new worker who's just learning to make paint. And she's asking her all these questions that she doesn't have the answers to yet. And she starts screaming at her in the middle of the aisle. These people, by now, I was just about fucking done with this woman. Then she comes up to me and she goes, well, how do I know that's ceiling paint? I said, because it says ceiling white on it, and because I've been doing this for 5 fucking years, and I'm telling you it is. Well, this one says ceiling paint in big letters. I said, yeah, and this one says ceiling paint in small letters, because it's a different brand, but they're both fucking ceiling paint. So, she gets to the register, she's paying for her paint, and she says to me, I said to her, we're open tomorrow, 8 o'clock to 5. She goes, I'm not going to be in the area. I'm in Boston tomorrow. She goes, if I go to a different store, a different Ace, and I order the same paint, is it going to look different? I just looked at her and said, not if they know what they're doing. This is run by computer. We don't sit here and act like a bunch of little chemists mixing colors. And then she turns around and she's holding up a package of blue tape. And she goes, if I don't need this, can I bring this back to any other Ace? I said, I couldn't tell you. I said, we're all independent. Ace does not own us. We just carry Ace products. My store only takes back product that we put on the shelf. We don't carry everything Ace makes. We don't carry everything that, say, Spartan Ace Hardware and Stoneham carries. Or O'Connor and Billerica. We're all different. We carry what sells here in Woburn. But I can't guarantee you can take that back to any other store. Oh, for Christ's sakes, I'll just come back here. I said, that's a good bet. I literally wanted to pop this woman one by the time she left. I didn't get out of there until almost 5:30. Emily, who she berated in the hallway there, Emily almost missed her final because we had to get her out of the store. You know what? I'm done with the entitlement of the American people. They certainly can put themselves out when it's about them. And I'm tired of these fucking shoppers who have become shoppers from hell since COVID-19. I'm fucking done. You come in at 10 o'clock, 10 minutes of 5 now, you need a couple of gallons of paint, no problem, we can bang that out. You come in again at 10 minutes of 5, and I'm on the shift, and you're going to be told you have to wait until tomorrow, because I'm done. Not only am I done as an hourly employee, it's not like I'm a manager. It's not only am I done, I don't make enough money to stay that late and add to my aggravation. Not only am I done with that, I'm done with being treated like this by people. Fuck you, okay? I do not need this shit. Nobody needs this shit. No one should be on the receiving end of this shit no matter what job they do. Wake up, America. This country may not be the most perfect country in the world. It may not be exactly what you want it to be, but you know what? It ain't ever going to be what you want it to be unless you take part. And the one thing I will say, the right wing knows how to get it done. The left wing, David Hogg was right. We're a bunch of little kindergartners with crayons. Wake up and do it soon, because time's a wasting. The midterms aren't that far away. You cannot return the GOP to power. I promise you, it will be a living hell. I'll talk to you later.